Yates introduced last year. So hopefully you'll find some of this interesting. We've really tried to think about what gardeners need and how we can help gardeners have more success with their garden, but also garden a lot more easily, because we all have gardening as a second nature. But for a lot of people, it's not simple, and it's quite complicated, and people don't know what to do, so they don't do anything. So we want to make sure that things are a lot easier for people, and then they'll have much more gardening success. So some of the new things that we've introduced in the last 6 months, we really wanted to focus on soil health. Like, the soil is the engine room of the garden, so it's really important that people get their soil right, and a lot of good things will flow from that. So we've introduced a new range of soil health improvement products, but really wanted to make sure that we made them easy to use, easy to understand. So we introduced a granular range of soil improvers. So we've got lime and dolomite sulfur and gypsum clay breaker granules, and they're all granules. So it's not the traditional dusty powders that are quite challenging to use, particularly if there's any breeze about. So these are granular products, and I'll go through some of the details of each of them. So lime and dolomite together in a granular format, so easy to apply, less mess. If you've been anything like me, getting a face full of lime when you're trying to apply it out in the garden. So makes it easy. So raises the soil pH, really trying to make it clear for all our gardening public to know what it's about. But these granules are a combination of lime and dolomite and molasses. And if any of you get to open a bag of this, you can actually smell the molasses. It's quite sweet, and the molasses is great for feeding soil microbes. So we're trying to do lots of different jobs in the one product. So raising soil pH, it's got calcium and magnesium in there for plant health, and it's got molasses in there as well. But really nice, tidy granules that are much less messy and much easier to apply. And people will hopefully we're trying to educate people on the importance of knowing their soil pH, because it does make such a difference in the growth of your plants, particularly if they're feeding and feeding and feeding and it's not making any difference. To get people to test their soil pH, and then suddenly find out that it's been the pH all along that's not in the sweet spot. So the first product in the granular soil improvement range is the lime and dolomite granules. And then on the flip side, there's sulfur. When you want to decrease your soil pH, there are different forms of sulfur available at the moment, but either liquid or a powdered form. But we wanted to make it easier for people to use and really make it clear as to what this product actually does. So decreasing soil pH, really good for acid-loving products. And we again tried to fit extra benefits in these granules. So it not only helps to reduce soil pH, but it's got bentonite in there as well, and that improves soil structure and moisture retention. So extra goodies in there for people that are growing acid-loving plants or have got a high soil pH and really need to bring that down. The third one in the new granular range is gypsum. I think this is probably the most understood product in the range, because if people have tried to dig in their gardens and they understand that they've got heavy clay and it's hard, so trying to make it easy for people to use the right product. So these gypsum clay breaker granules, they've got obviously gypsum in there, but we've also added some zeolite in there as well, and that helps to improve soil structure and drainage. But they're really easy to apply granules, and once you apply them and you water them in, they start to break down like normal gypsum and start to get to work on clumping those clay particles together to increase the spaces around them, which improves drainage and aeration and makes it easier for roots to grow. But it's just easier for gardeners to apply. So making it less messy, for people, easier application. So they're our new gypsum clay breaker granules. Now, the next one in the easy to apply range that we've got is Blood and Bone. And this is another product, and I don't know about you guys, but I have applied Blood and Bone when there's a little bit of a breeze, and it has come back in my face, which is not particularly pleasant. And also as gardeners, I don't mind digging my hand into a bag of something like Blood and Bone or Dynamic Lifter, but for beginner gardeners or gardeners that might be a little bit squeamish, it's not a great thing to do, and it's messy and it's dusty and it falls through your hand when you're trying to apply it. So we've called them granules. They sort of look like pellets really, but pelletized or granulated Blood and Bone, so that it's easier to grab a handful, it's easier to apply, it's less messy, it's less dusty, and also because they are compressed into that granule, you can actually apply 20% less than what you would normally apply with powdered Blood and Bone because it is so concentrated and compressed. So there's an extra benefit there. And also we've made it into a much more complete fertilizer. We've added some potassium in there as well, which is great for overall garden health and to promote flowering as well. So they've been really popular because it does make it less messy. We don't want to have mess being a barrier for people getting involved in gardening. So if we can make it a bit cleaner with granulated and pelletized products, then hopefully more people will become addicted to gardening like we are. So that's the Blood and Bone granules. The other product we've introduced is a new mulch. So this is a pine bark based mulch, but again, trying to include lots of goodies in there to make sure people are getting the absolute best out of the product as we can. So this has got added dynamic lifter, but it's also got wetting agent and beneficial microbes in there as well. And what we all know about microbes is they are the tireless and free, very hard-working organisms in the garden, and they help to break down organic matter. They help to even out the population of bad microbes that can cause problems with plants. So microbes, wetting agent, dynamic lifter, and the pine bark mulch base. It's actually quite a fine, really attractive mulch. So it not only forms has function, protecting the top layers of the soil from temperature and heavy rain. If you are getting any rain, George, this one's for you. And reducing evaporation from the soil surface, keeps it cooler, more moist, so the earthworms love it and the microorganisms love it, and therefore the plants will love it as well. So that's the new dynamic lifter mulch. Unfortunately, it's not available in WA, but is available everywhere else at the moment. So a really nice mulch. I use that in garden beds and also on my pots as well. It's quite attractive, fine, good-looking mulch. So that's another one in the Yates range. So for those of you who know that the Munns Professional Lawn Care range is also part of the Yates portfolio, so I wanted to talk about some of the Munns products that have been introduced recently. So Munns has had a product called Green Dominator for a couple of years, but it's only been available as a concentrate that you mix up in water and apply with a sprayer. Green Dominator, we sort of know in-house as our party fertilizer. So if you wake up on a Saturday morning and think, oh gosh, I've got the tribe coming over for a barbecue tonight, this will green up the lawn in as little as 4 hours. So if you want rapid greening, then Green Dominator is the way to go. But again, we wanted to make it easier for people to use. Not everyone's got a pressure sprayer that they can use, so we've put it in a hose-on. So just I think of our hose-on applicators as the plug-and-play solutions for lawn and garden care. So you plug your hose in, turn the on-off switch on, and you're good to go. So Green Dominator, it contains 4 really key lawn greening nutrients. So it's got nitrogen, iron, but also manganese and magnesium. So it will green up the lawn in 4 hours, and one hose-on will treat 200 square metres of lawn. So often people will get a couple of applications from the one bottle, but really quick, deep, lush, green-looking lawn, which is always lovely. And of course, it's feeding and helping to thicken it as well. Also in the Munns Professional range, we've got a new hose-on version of one of their best granular fertilisers, which is Munns Golf Course Green, but we've put it in a hose-on applicator. But trying to make lawn care quick and easy for as many people as possible. So taking the same concept of the granular golf course green fertilizer, but put it in a hose on. And one of the fantastic things about this particular formula, even though it's a liquid, it also will feed the lawn for up to 3 months. So you can apply it at the beginning of each season, or at the very least spring, summer and autumn, and it's going to see people through their lawn health and feeding for the next 3 months. So it's got the nutrients in there, so you can see the NPK on the screen is 11.7, 0.71 and 2.1 of potassium, but it's also boosted with seaweed humates and wetting agent as well. So trying to look after the health of the lawn, but also the health of the soil underneath the lawn. So seaweed is great for promoting root growth. Humates are really good for soil health, and wetting agent helps to get the rain where there is some and the moisture down into the root zone where it's needed. So a 2.4 litre pack will feed 220 square metres. So most people now tend to have like 100 square metre lawn, so it actually is going to go a long way. And so one bottle, a couple of applications, and will feed for 3 months. So really handy way for particularly time poor and beginner lawn carers to take care of their lawn, because it does feed for so many months. So that's the new version of Munns Golf Course Green. Also, as you know, the Organic Crop Protectants Eco Garden range is part of the Yates stable as well. So we're very proud to have that the OCP products as part of the range that we can give to home gardeners. And just wanted to talk about some of the new products in the Eco Garden range. So the first one is Eco Pyrethrum Plus. So this is a combination of pyrethrum, pyrethrin, and canola oil. So really effective combination of those two active ingredients. So pyrethrum is really good, broad spectrum insecticide from the pyrethrum daisy, really good for common insect pests like caterpillars and aphids. And the addition of oil also helps to broaden the range of pests that it will control, because it has the smothering effect on things like mites and also scale insects as well. So back in the day when we did trials on this, the combination of those two active ingredients, it's not 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 3. It just, this synergistic effect of those two active ingredients put together that really makes for a very effective product. So it controls a wide range of chewing and sucking insects. You can use it on pretty much all plants. So whether it's your veggies or your ornamental plants, you can also use it on indoor plants as well. It is approved for use in organic gardening. So we use what used to be called the BFA, but it's the input for organic gardens. Just cut off on the screen there, you can see the little logo, approved for use in organic gardening. It's also got some added seaweed in there to boost plant growth as well. So a really handy broad spectrum spray, really handy for beginner gardeners as well when they don't quite know what's going on. I talk to a lot of people and they'll say, something's wrong with my plant. And if I ask them to describe the symptoms, often people don't know the difference between an aphid and a caterpillar, and it comes naturally to this group, but not necessarily to anybody else. So it's a really handy product to take some of the guesswork out of plant protection for some of the people that are just entering into the world of gardening. So that's OCP Eco Pyrethrum Plus. We've also got OCP Eco Insect Killer, and this is Natrasoap. It's an insecticidal soap, so really good for controlling small, soft-bodied insects, things like aphids and mites, thrips and whitefly, and also mealybugs. So if people are looking for an insecticidal soap, this product is for them. So there's no withholding period. Just like the other eco products, it's approved for use in organic gardening. So a really soft way to control a range of those small sucking insect pests. The other one that you might have been familiar with under the Yates Nature's Way range, it's now been included in the Eco Garden range, which is Eco Caterpillar Killer. So often referred to as Dipel. So it's based on a naturally occurring bacteria. It just controls caterpillars. It won't control anything else. So trying to make it as recognizable for people as possible. We've got the big caterpillar word on the front. So it's a great one for controlling caterpillars on all sorts of plants. Every single plant that you can possibly imagine, you can use it. So vegetables, fruit, indoors, shrubs, trees, herbs, they're all on the label. So it's a really lovely product to be able to recommend if people have got caterpillar issues, and approved for use in organic gardening as well. There's a lot of people I talk to, they say, I don't want to use any sprays or poisons, but they still want to be able to protect their garden. So it's a really nice range to recommend to people because it's approved independently for use in organic gardening. And a relatively new one in the Eco range is Eco NemGuard. Now, many of you will remember years ago, there used to be a product called Nemacur that was available for controlling nematodes. And after that was discontinued, home gardeners have really not had much to be able to use to control nematodes in their garden. So Eco NemGuard is something that we can now recommend for controlling parasitic soil nematodes. It's based on garlic extract, and if you're in Bunnings or get a chance to get hold of a pack of this, it does smell like something that you could sprinkle on your salad or your barbecue. It really does have quite a strong fragrance of garlic, but what it does is helps to suppress nematodes. So it gives home gardeners something to be able to use to help protect their veggie patches from nematodes. So there's no withholding period. It comes in, it's a granule. So you just flip the top of that little bottle and you sprinkle it over in your veggie patch. So it's approved for use in organic gardening. So it's really lovely for us to be able to have something that we can recommend for nematodes, because they can be the bane of people's existence, nematodes, and destroy the garden. So there was some new Yates products, there was some new Munns products, and some new eco products. So we've been a little bit busy over the last 6 months, and if you're happy to have me back again in between now and spring, I've got some new products that are coming out between now and the end of the year, which is a bit exciting. But I hope that was of interest. If any of you would like to talk to me about those, either through questions or after the meeting, please get in contact with me, and happy to provide you with.
Oh.
You just disappeared, Angie.
Hang on.
It's all right, George. I've unmuted myself. Angie, thank you for that. It was great. George is just going to unmute everybody because I think there will be lots of questions. As soon as you might have to unmute everyone separately, maybe, or perhaps you could try unmuting yourselves.
Yes, just
Angie,
everyone unmute.
Great.
Angie, are you
Unmuted?
Yep, you should be able to hear me.
right? Yep.
Sorry we did that to you, Angie. But it was very, very, very interesting, and we would definitely like to hear what's coming up in the future. So I think we'll make a date with you, possibly just before the products get released, so that we're across them before they actually hit the shelves. I mean, that's one of the problems being in the media, that you do need to keep abreast of this. And since we don't have those wonderful Yates lunches anymore,
yeah,
that Judy used to host.
I was the lucky one, wasn't I, Ange?
You were the lucky one, Judy. But
Yeah,
it was
We were.
we do appreciate all of that information that we used to get. While everyone's just waiting to ask their questions, can I just ask you something about the garlic extract? Is there research available to find out more about that? I mean, that's not one of the things that's been on my radar for controlling nematodes.
Yeah, so I can have a look at the trial work that was done, if that's what you're interested in, because it's an APVMA approved product. So it's gone through all the hoops and the jumped over all the hurdles that the APVMA requires of a plant protection product. So I can put some information for you together as a bit of the background of that. That would be fine if that's what you're interested in.
Because I mean, you know, you're supposed to be able to use prawn shells and marigolds and all sorts of things, but I had not come across garlic. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. No,
And do you know
I'll
if it
send you some info.
Who's
do you
got
know
that?
if it works on rabbits? I know. Well, our neighbour over the road has put a new garden in, and a few things have been chewed, but not his society garlic. So
Well, it might work, mightn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was this the Khaleesi virus came along at the right time.
No, it's quite recent. There are still plenty of rabbits around.
Yeah. Any other questions while we've still got Angie here?
And
Angie-
are the products available generally? They're not exclusive to Bunnings, or are any of them exclusive to Bunnings?
It's a tough one, Lee. At the moment, they are available in Bunnings. Actually, the NEM, all the OCP Eco Garden products should be widely available everywhere. So, because independent hardware and nurseries have access to all the eco range, the granular soil improvers are just in Bunnings at the moment. That might change after a while, but eco, yes. But the Munns and the Yates products I spoke about just in Bunnings at the moment.
Do they come in sizes larger than 3 kilos?
That's a very good question. I think that the granular products are just in. So the lime and dolomites are 5, gypsum is 5, and the sulphur is 3. So at the moment, it's catering towards like. Sort of standard home gardeners, but if you've got a bigger problem, Kim, I'll see what I can find out for you.
Yeah, that'd be handy.
With those granular products, Angie, is there, you know, you're mentioning that they're better to use than the dusts, obviously, but does that mean that they're more expensive? And also, does it mean that you'll be phasing out the dust or powdered forms?
We have not had the powdered lime and gypsum in our range for quite a while. So this was a new product for us. We do have a liquid version of sulphur, but at the moment they both appear on the shelves to give people that flexibility. So whether they will ultimately replace other people's powdered lime and gypsum, I'm not quite sure. But at the moment, people have the option still of using the powdered versions, and that's also the same for the blood and bone as well. You can still get powdered blood and bone as well, not only in places like Bunnings, but garden centres as well. But at the moment, hopefully they'll be popular and people will enjoy using them, and then maybe there might be a shift away from the powdered products.
Sorry, Jenny.
You go on.
What I'd love you to develop is a systemic caterpillar control, so that you don't have to constantly spray it and then it rains and washes off. I think that would be very handy.
So there's a couple of things. So one, in the interim, Success Ultra, which contains spinetoram. So that's got a translaminar activity. So that's actually absorbed into the leaf. It doesn't spread anywhere else, but it's absorbed into the leaf, and that helps it to make it a little bit more rain fast than a surface type spray. But there is something coming, Kim. There's something coming, and I can't tell you about it just yet, but it's coming. A systemic insecticide that is not imidacloprid.
Good to hear.
Stay tuned. I've noted that you like a product for caterpillars, so I'll be able to hopefully make your day a little bit later in the year.
Yeah.
Connie?
Can I request the product as well?
Hi, Connie.
Hello. Can I request a product as well? One for Queensland fruit flies. I feel like there aren't many in the market that are
Yeah.
very accessible. Yeah.
It's an interesting question, because for quite a few years we had something in the Yates Nature's Way range that was based
Yeah.
on a spinosad or spinosad that you would make up almost into a it's not quite a paste, but quite a thick spray, and you would apply it to the trunk of your peach trees or even onto a board that you would hang in your veggie patch. And it just didn't sell. Like, it also approved for use in organic gardening. Like, it was a naturally based, organic certified product, and it didn't sell. So it got deleted, unfortunately. So
What was the product called?
it was called Nature's Way Fruit Fly Killer, fruit
Okay.
fly control.
Wondering
Like,
what had happened to it.
200 ml bottle. But that's why it got deleted. So the things that are available for people now, so in the OCP range, there's the Queensland fruit fly male fruit fly trap. So it's not organic because it has a synthetic insecticide in it, in addition to the attractant, but it's got a synthetic insecticide in there. But trapping like that is only half of the way to control fruit flies.
Yeah.
There are other traps that you can get in nurseries and hardware stores, but they're really, trapping is just a half the solution. So then you're looking at physical exclusion with a really fine netting and trapping. So it's a multi-pronged approach.
It's really hard to like encourage people, especially like beginner urban or like just suburban gardeners, to do anything about it. I feel like when there's a product, it feels like an easy solution for them, but having them do like cultural methods of containing a pest is more work.
Yeah. That's right. And people, I mean, gone are the days, unfortunately, when we used to have Labacid and people would spray it everywhere, and that would be quite an effective way to control fruit flies. But we just, well, the APVMA, the government regulatory body, thought that was just too strong for home gardeners to safely use. So that really reduced what we could recommend to people. So it's made it quite tough. Yeah, I agree.
I have another question. Oh, sorry.
No, you're on.
With the eco insect killer that's natural soap, is that horticultural soap? What is the ingredient?
Yeah, so the technical term is potassium salts of fatty acids. So that's what you'll see on the active ingredient list. So what they do is basically have vegetable oils, and they saponify them or make them into soap, similar to what people do when they make homemade soap. So they take oils and you add caustic material to it, usually caustic soda or something like that. That's how an insecticidal soap is made. So yeah, that's the ingredient. So potassium salts of fatty acids, fancy name for insecticidal soap or a soap insecticide.
Yeah.
It's interesting that the trap for the male fruit fly is not considered, because it has a synthetic element, that it's not considered organic, because it has nothing to do with the actual fruit. It's unrelated. The male fruit fly, if it doesn't connect with the fruit, it's not inside the fruit at all, is it?
That's exactly right. It's a quirk of the organic certification system, because if you sell it as an entity, one entity, they will look at that as a whole and say, well, that's got an insecticide in it, therefore you can't. So it is a shame. Yeah, I agree.
I was going to ask anyone else, do you know what the commercial fruit growers use for fruit fly control?
That's a good question. I wonder whether they still are able to use Labacid.
It's not fair to ask you because you're not expecting.
No. Oh, and that's
just in case, I thought I'd throw it out there. And see if
do you know, Jackie? Does Jackie know?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Or I'd have to look it up and get back to you.
I don't know if I read this right, but I feel like I saw an article in the news recently where Queensland fruit fly had been spotted in New Zealand and the government released sterile males to try and control it. Did anybody read that?
They've been trialling sterile male
Yeah.
releases in South Australia and all sorts of places.
Okay.
It is
Yeah.
a really good way to control fruit fly.
Yeah.
It's happening, and I think it worked in New Zealand. They certainly don't want to get our pests over there.
Yeah. Is it just a really big investment? Because they could do that in Queensland too.
I think that they're more going to target the, Victoria and Adelaide and places.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Mm,
something. There is a body that is actually doing all this research on fruit fly control. That's actually their
mm,
main task, and that's one of their big flagships is the sterile males.
sounds like a good solution to me.
Yeah,
I think the horse has bolted in Queensland. The numbers
Yeah.
are so huge.
Yeah.
No.
but I'm really upset about hearing about that the splash bait, or what I would call a splash bait, the natural soap one, is not available. That's
yes,
terrible, because
yeah,
that was the main gardener way of controlling it. And I would
yes.
Mm.
I would urge Yates to think about relaunching that and making it a bit more sexy in some way and getting it back into the market, because that's what Connie wants. And
That's right. And actually,
if
back to
Connie wants
Judy's.
it, we should deliver it. I
Just
think.
Because there's not, I feel like it's just really hard to encourage people to do something about Queensland fruit fly, which is actually a really big and serious issue, but people just don't care. They just let it happen where I live,
Yeah.
I mean the suburbs.
Yeah,
And with it
it's
just coming into Victoria, I mean, this is
Yeah.
the nightmare really for Melbourne, is that if the fruit fly will come, and now it's there.
Yeah, it's well and truly here.
No history, you see, in Victoria of
Yeah.
dealing with fruit fly. In New South Wales and Queensland, it's just part of your education. You have to deal with fruit fly. You know that hope is not a method of dealing with fruit fly. And
Pushing it away. Yeah.
exactly, it doesn't work. And so we've got decades of experience versus the people in Melbourne are just used to going and picking their fruit, growing their tomatoes, and not worrying about it. So it's really, really hard, as you say, if there's not a product that can be readily recommended
Yeah.
and easy to use.
Angie,
I-
maybe
Yeah.
you'd better put the wood on the company and say this is their community responsibility.
I'll definitely pass some feedback back to them. And it wasn't for lack of trying. The reason why it's being deleted is because we had our biggest customer no longer wanted to stock it. So we were happy to continue to supply it. But if no one buys it, I mean, nobody. I mean, if the sales aren't significant enough, then the big green box says, well, please explain. And then the lack of sales ultimately gets it deleted. So that's the chain of events that happened. So it wasn't us that chose to withdraw it from the market. Like, we had it for quite a few years. And actually, Judy, back to your question, I think commercial farmers use that as well. So the commercial version of that is Natural Lure, and that's the product that they would be, one of the products that they would be using.
They'd use it as a splash bait, would they?
Yeah, so, or you can spray it. I haven't physically seen it, but I imagine if they went through and sprayed all the trunks of the orchard down the rows, then that might be how they apply it. Maybe, but that's still available commercially.
Lee, this sounds like a good point of differentiation from the big box and the garden centres, where if you can say you can go to your garden centre and actually get a product to control fruit fly. That
It seems to be up to Bunnings to determine that, unfortunately, but I'd like to see. I mean, I really can't understand that Bunnings have got that much clout that they can actually stop you from selling it through garden centres. Sounds strange to me, but anyway.
It becomes more of economies of scale, and so if and not with that product in particular, but when a big chunk of your sales goes to one particular retailer and that retailer no longer wants to stock that product, it then can often become economically unviable for us to continue to manufacture it.
Well, community service, that's what they need to consider.
I can
Oh,
understand that,
I
but
hear
you've got
you.
lots of other products that are Bunnings exclusives that could be shared. I mean, Yates business started in garden centres, which they've obviously forgotten. Goes back a long while, I know. That's where it all was. Surely it could be shared around a little with some of these great products.
I think the problem is that didn't Yates get deleted from Bunnings about a decade or more ago, and it just about brought the company to its knees. And I don't think they're going to go back to that position
That was the
again.
seeds, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I know it had a bad effect on you. On
I've got a question, if that would be okay.
yes, Carol.
Thanks, Jennifer. I had a question. I've got two questions actually. One is the OCP products. Are they do they harm beneficial predators?
So if
For
you
example, ladybug larvae.
Yeah. Good.
what was that, Connie?
For example, ladybug larvae. It's a joint question from me and Daryl.
Sure. Look, if with the product that's based on pyrethrin,
Yeah.
because that pyrethrin will control most things that it touches. So with that particular one, I mean, avoid spraying beneficial. So wait till the sun goes down so you're not spraying bees if they're foraging, or don't spray plants when they're in flower. So with that particular one, just use it with care. The eco caterpillar killer, so the one that's based on bacteria, that doesn't have any effect on non-caterpillars. So just as a general rule, I would not spray beneficials with anything, just to let them live their best life and off they go. But the eco caterpillar won't have any effect on things like bees and ladybirds. If you've got a beneficial small-bodied larvae or insect with the eco insecticide, the soap-based spray, I would probably avoid that. But the benefit of all those eco products is if you were to spray it, say, late in the afternoon, they're all the active ingredients like pyrethrum and oil don't have any residual effect. So if you were to spray it, once the spray has dried and a beneficial larvae or a ladybird was going to come wandering on the leaf the next morning that had been sprayed, there's going to be no effect on them. So but just use them wisely. But so Daryl and Connie, don't spray any beneficials directly, but there's no residual effect. So if you wanted to, if you're very mindful of your beneficials, it's a great product range to use, but just use them carefully like you would any other insecticide.
Awesome, thanks, Angie. And I had one for
Daryl had a second question.
Oh, thanks, Jen. My second question was just whether you could just explain to me a little bit about the organic credentials of the Nature's Way range. Something I'm quite interested in.
Yeah, so the most of the products that were in the Yates Nature's Way range have now been moved across into the OCP Organic Garden range. So you'll see in stores that they're gradually going. The Yates brand will go from that range, and they'll be replaced with the OCP products. So you will no longer see the Nature's Way products in stores, but that's where OCP have picked up that baton, and they're going to run with that because that's their homeland. So OCP and Eco Garden, their homeland is organic products that are based on natural extracts and approved for use in organic gardening. So that's those products have then been added to their stable, and hopefully that makes it easier for home gardeners to choose as well, because they know, they see the OCP brand and the Eco Garden brand, it's completely in bed with organic gardeners. So hopefully that does make it easier for people to navigate the category. I've watched people in stores, whether they're garden centres or the big green box, and just be completely overwhelmed with all the products that are available for plant protection in particular. So hopefully if we make it a lot easier for people to choose an organic range, they know to choose from the eco range of products.
That's helpful. Thank you.
And Jackie,
no worries.
Jackie, you wanted to say something before.
Sorry to bring the conversation back to the Q-fly. I just wanted to ask, so the spinosad product is completely gone. The only reason why I'm asking is that it's still on the Yates website and says that it's available to order. Is that just they're running the stock out?
Yes, if
so
it's
it's kind of available while stocks last kind of situation.
Yeah, if you can still add to cart, then we might have some in our warehouse that we can then, because we do have a small Yates shop, it might still be available. But what we tend to do is keep products on our website for several months, 6 months or 12 months after they've been discontinued, because people have them in their garden sheds, just so the information is still there if people want to find out about it. But it may not necessarily be available in stores, which breaks my heart. I can feel the pain in the room. I'm so sorry that that's not available.
Yeah, the reason why I bring it up is so I do a lot of work with Qfly responses as well, and I'm based in Mildura, so there's been a lot of push here. They're actually winding up the response, well, not the response, but some of the outreach kind of work, and they were recommending the Yates product as a product that could be used for home gardeners, but as I'm sure everyone else has noticed, that it disappeared from shelves not that long ago, but it was still available online in some places, so we'd been directing people that way. So yeah, it was a little bit sad to hear that it's actually been deleted from the range entirely. I thought maybe it had just been deleted from the big green box.
Yeah, I will double check to see whether we have much stock left. Actually, I can check that. I can check that now. But yeah, it's a vicious circle. People don't buy it. It's just not economical for us to continue to manufacture and supply it, which is completely at odds with the increasing nature of the problem. So as Jennifer mentioned before, maybe we need to relook at it and make fruit fly control sexy. So try to see what we can do, or put it together in such a way that it's much easier for people to apply or use, rather than them having to make it up in water. One of the challenging things is with that particular active ingredient, it's not stable in low concentrations. So which is why a ready-to-use version of that, like so in Connie's garden, for example, if she's got 1 or 2 capsicum plants that she needs to protect, or a few tomatoes. I know, Connie, you've got so many more than that, but in a normal backyard, if you've got a couple of plants to protect, a ready-to-use product that you could just spray around the base of a trunk of a tree, or spray it onto boards that you hung in your veggie patch would be great. But that particular active ingredient is a little bit tricky to deal with, which is why it's only available in a concentrated form at the moment. So yeah, all sorts of things to keep us on our toes with that one. But I would definitely feedback everyone's angst about not having something to be able to use in their own gardens, but also from an industry perspective as well.
Angie, thank you so much. I'm sorry I have to go.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
Yeah,
Take
you
care.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Lovely to see you in Moree too, Kim.
Oh, wasn't that fun? Yes,
Fabulous.
that was great.
Well, I think that we can probably say
Bye,
thank you
everyone.
to Angie, and it was a very, very informative and lovely webinar. Thank you for putting it together for us.
Oh, you're
and
welcome.
We'll hold you to another one at the beginning of spring. And
Yep.
as we have recorded this, it'll be available on the website for everyone to look at again, or to view for the first time. So thank you for that, and thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks, Angie, and
Have a
thanks,
Thank
Jennifer.
you.
Trip. Have a lovely trip.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks,
enjoy
Judy.
Japan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 And you have a good trip too, George.